Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video we're going to continue on with our game review recaps from the past couple of days, reviewing all the games that happened over Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll go to all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Talkie Channel. Before I begin this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. We are so close to 100 subscribers. Thank you for all of your support. I'll never be able to do so without you guys, so don't forget to subscribe. And as usual, I'm going to do a game review video here for Tuesday and Wednesday, the last couple of days of NHL action. Really exciting NHL action. We had 9 games on Tuesday, we had 4 games on Wednesday. We'll go to all of that and see how each and one of these teams did in those 13 games. So I'll start with the 9 games that happened on Tuesday. So on Tuesday we had a really good matchup between the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres. That was all Bruins, all early. They wound up taking a huge 5-0 lead, if I'm correct, at one point. Sabres would get a couple of goals, make it somewhat interesting, but it was all the Bruins this game. Bruins wound up winning over the Sabres 5-2. It was all the Bruins. They absolutely dominated the Sabres. Bruins were able to improve to 12-1-2. Sabres dropped to 7-8-1, so Sabres are back down to below 500 after back-to-back losses. Pasternak had a 3-point night with a goal and 2 assists. Zach and McAvoy both had 2 assists. Carlo, Lindholm, Steen, and Heinen, first back with the member of the Boston Bruins, all scored for the Bruins in the win. Meanwhile, Olofsson scored both goals for the Buffalo Sabres in the loss. So really dominant showing there from Boston to continue to do fantastic to start this season. So Boston looks extremely well, and they improved to 12-1-2. Sabres don't look overly good right now. They lost Tage Thompson this game due to injury, so that's one bad blow. They did not look good in this game. That's another bad blow. Olofsson had 2 goals, which is, I guess, a really big bright spot, but other than that, this was not a good game from the Sabres. So Sabres dropped to 7-8-1, and they still have things to work on to try and get back to being a playoff contender for this year. Then we had the Pittsburgh Penguins come from behind and beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-3 to improve to 8-6-0 and improve their winning streak to 5 games. While the Jackets dropped to 4-8-4 and their losing streak continues. I think they only have like 1 game in their last 11. So this has not been an overly fantastic stretch here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Meanwhile, the Penguins have turned things around and are back in a playoff spot. So Pittsburgh looks good. Crosby had a hat trick and a 4-point night for the Pittsburgh Penguins, while Gensel and Carlson both had a goal and an assist for the Penguins in the win. And then Texier, Chinakhov, and Marchenko were the 3 goal scorers for the Jackets in the loss. So it was a really close game. Both teams had really good shots, but Crosby was really the best player in this game, scoring the hat-trick, getting a 4-point night. He looked fantastic. Penguins once again find ways to win, and after a very slow start, the Penguins look absolutely fantastic right now. So really good stuff there from the Penguins to improve to 8-6-0 and get back into a playoff spot. Then we had the Washington Capitals shut out the Vegas Golden Knights 3-0. Really close game. This was 1-0 with 2 empty netters, so it was a really close game, but the Caps were able to pull away with the victory. Strome, McMichael, and Malenstein were the 3 goal scorers for the Capitals, while Charlie Lindgren stopped all 35 shots he faced in the win for the Washington Capitals. So it was a really close game. Both teams were really good. Like I said, 1-0. It was a very fantastic, really close game. Caps improved to 8-4-2. They're one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference right now. Knights dropped to 12-3-1. They're not doing overly well right now. They still have a fantastic record, but they have lost 3 of their last 4 games. So they really need to start picking up the pace. But yeah, it was just a really good game there from Washington Capitals goalie Charlie Lindgren, who absolutely shut the door on Vegas. And the Caps were able to pull away with a huge 3-0 victory. Then we had the Calgary Flames win a very close game over the Montreal Canadiens 2-1 to improve to 5-8-2, dropping the Canadiens to 7-7-2 on the year. So definitely a really big win there for the Canadiens. It was a really close game. Both sides had really good chances to win this game. The Flames were able to get Zari having a goal and an assist, and Kadri also scored for the Flames in the win. While Lindstrom, his first as a member of the Montreal Canadiens, was the lone goal scorer for the Habs in the loss. So a really close game. Both teams looked really good. The Canadiens are back down to 500. Not overly surprising there. Like I said, they started to look like they're coming down to earth a little bit. That was a much needed win for the Flames after losing back-to-back games in the other 2 Ontario teams. So getting a win is huge. It's going to be really interesting to see how they do tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. So it'll be interesting to see, but they're now back to within only 3 games of 500. They looked good in that game, and hopefully this is something that the Flames can build off of. So really good game there for Calgary. Then we had the St. Louis Blues absolutely destroy the Tampa Bay Lightning, who get shut out for the 2nd game in a row. Blues win 5-0 over Tampa to improve to 8-5-1, dropping the Tampa Bay Lightning to 6-6-4. So really bad stuff there from Tampa, who after some really good play early on, have now lost back-to-back games being shut out, and they do not look overly well right now. The Blues were able to get 2 goals from Jordan Kyrou. They got Buchnevich and Krug, who had 2 assists, and Parayko, Verana, and Kapanen also scored for the Blues in the win, and Binnington stopped all 30 shots he faced in the shutout and the victory, so definitely, Binnington had a fantastic night. The Bolts have seemed to have lost their goal-scoring touch. They need to try and find it quickly before they start to go below 500. Like I said, if they were to still hover around the 500 mark in the playoff line, well, until Vasilevsky back, which seems like it's going to be soon, I said they would be fine. But if they start to fall a little bit farther, and get a few more losses and get themselves sent down to being below 500, that's going to be a really big problem for that team. So hopefully they can start to right the ship, but the Blues look fantastic. They're now 3 wins above 500. At least right now, they're starting to find their goal-scoring touch, so that's good news for the Blues, and they look pretty good right now. As for the Bolts, like I said, they've been shut out in back-to-back games. They're outscored 9-0 in those 2 games. It does not look overly good for the Bolts right now, so hopefully they can find a way to turn the ship around and do a little bit better in the next few games. Then we have the Winnipeg Jets double up the New Jersey Devils 6-3 to improve to 8-5-2, dropping the Devils to 7-6-1. So definitely, it was a really close game, but the Jets were able to pull away later in the game, and they do wind up doubling up the Devils. Morrissey had a 4-assist night. Connor had a 3-point night with 2 goals and an assist. Ehlers scored twice. Perfetti had a goal and an assist, and Baron also scored for the Jets in the win. Well, for the Devils, it was Marino, Mercer, and Meyer who scored the 3 goals for them. So really, the Devils continue to have problems. Ever since Hughes has went out of the lineup, they've not been able to win very many games. I think they're like 1-4-0 in their last 5. So they're not doing overly well without Hughes and Heischer. So losing their top 2 centers have really hurt that team. Hopefully they can start to turn things around, but they're not looking overly good right now. Jets look absolutely fantastic. They're in the 3rd position in the Central Division right now. They're looking absolutely phenomenal, and I think they look really good. As long as they can keep up this pace throughout the next 82 games, they should be in a really good position to make the playoffs, which is something I was not expecting the Jets to do this year. I was expecting them to be in the mix, but I wasn't expecting them to make the playoff. And at this point in time, the Jets are definitely looking like a playoff team. So hopefully the Jets can continue to do really well, but they beat the New Jersey Devils 6-3. The Anaheim Ducks found themselves down 2-0 to Nashville Predators, and were down the 3rd period, I think 2-1, and they came back and ended up winning 3-2 over the Nashville Predators in the 3rd period. The Ducks became the first team in NHL history to be down the 3rd period and come back to win 6 times in their first 15 games. The Ducks look absolutely fantastic coming back from deficits. Gudas had a goal and an assist. Vanakainen had 2 assists, while both Henrique and Fowler also scored for the Ducks in the win, while Riley had 2 assists, and Yossi and Forsberg were 2 goal scorers for the Preds in the loss. So, really good game there from the Ducks, definitely showing their resiliency. A couple of wins after a couple of losses, following that 6-game winning streak, and they're now back up to 9-6-0, while the Preds, with another loss, dropped to 5-10-0. They're one of the worst teams in the league right now. They do not look overly good, so hopefully Nashville can start to turn things around, but this does not look overly good for the Predators. Once again, the Ducks find ways to win, and that is a huge win there for Anaheim. Then you had the Dallas Stars come away with a very close 4-3 OT victory over the Arizona Coyotes. It was a really close game. Both teams had really good stuff there on that game. Both teams had leads at some points in time, but it was the Dallas Stars who came away with the OT victory. Sagan and Duchesne, who had the OT winner, both had a goal and an assist. And Lindell and Hintz also scored for the Stars in the win, while Zucker, Keller, and Krause were the 3 goal scorers for the Coyotes. Coyotes drop to 7-6-2 on the season. They do get a point, so that's a huge point for them to keep pace with teams like the Blues and the Jets, but they do fall in the standings. For the Stars, it's a huge win. They improved to 11-3-1. They're still one of the best teams in the Western Conference. So very fantastic news there for the Dallas Stars, as they showed their resiliency to score a very late game-tying goal and then win it in overtime. So good news there for the Stars. Not overly great news there for the Coyotes to blow a lead, but still, they got a point against a really good Dallas Stars team, which I think is a win for the Arizona Coyotes. Then we had the finale of the games that happened on Tuesday with the Florida Panthers and the San Jose Sharks. Both teams looked really good in this game. The Sharks actually had a lead at one point in the 3rd period, but the Florida Panthers would tie it, take the lead, and get the insurance marker. Florida Panthers beat the San Jose Sharks 5-2 to improve to 10-4-1 the season. They absolutely continue to dominate. Meanwhile, the San Jose Sharks are up to 2-13-1, and after 2 straight wins, they've now lost, I think, 3 games in a row. So, not overly great news there for the Sharks. Reinhart, Verhaeghe, and Barkov all had a goal and assist for Florida. Kachuk had 2 assists, and both Stenlund and Lomberg also scored for the Panthers in the win, while Granlund had 2 assists, and Cunnin. Hoffman is first as a member of the San Jose Sharks, and Hurdle were the 3 goal scorers for the San Jose Sharks. So San Jose is at least getting some more goal production, which is fantastic news. At least they got a couple of goals in this game, but still, they continue to find ways to lose. They're down to 2-13-1. They're not doing overly well, so bad news there for the Sharks. But the Panthers were able to be a resilient bunch, come back from down 3-2 in the third period, and get the win. So fantastic news there for the Panthers to get another win. It's going to help them in the long run, and the San Jose Sharks continue to lose, as a lot of people continue to expect them to. Then we have 4 games yesterday of NHL action. First, the Philadelphia Flyers were able to jump out to a 3-0 lead, held on for a 3-1 victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. Flyers improved to 8-7-1 and leapfrogged the Penguins for a playoff spot. Meanwhile, the Carolina Hurricanes dropped to 9-7-0 and still have some things to work on. Flyers were able to get Tippett, Paling, first as a member of the Philadelphia Flyers, and connecting with goals, while Nosen was the Canes' lone goal scorer in the loss. So Canes definitely still need to work on some things. Definitely can't be down early in the first period 2-0. It's really hard to work your way back from that. So hopefully the Canes can work there on that stuff, but really bad loss there for the Canes. Meanwhile, for the Flyers, they've now won a couple of them in a row, and they're back up above 500. So Flyers continue to look all right now. They're not doing overly bad, but they're also not doing fantastic. So they're a very streaky team. They had a very good start, then they had a really sour patch, and they've had a really good last couple of games. So it'll be interesting to see how they do over the next little while. Seattle has a 3-1 lead at one point over the Edmonton Oilers midway through the third period, but then 2 Evander Kane goals late in the third period tie the game up, sending it to overtime. And then this goal here from Evander Kane in overtime. Remember, all clips occurred at Sportsnet. But Evander Kane's OT winner helped the Edmonton Oilers wind up beating the Seattle Kraken 4-3 in overtime. So fantastic stuff there from Evander Kane, who really helped the Edmonton Oilers keep their winning streak alive when it looked like it was probably going to end. So a huge win there for the Oilers to improve to 4-3 OT victory over the Seattle Kraken. Kraken can't once again hold on for a win. They've blown multiple leads throughout the season that I think would have them in a much better place if they were able to hold on to leads. Kane, like I said, had a hat trick, including the OT winner. Bouchard had 3 assists. Draisaitl had 2 assists, and McDavid also scored for the Edmonton Oilers, while Lamar, Wenberg, and McCann were 3 goal scorers for the Kraken in the loss. So definitely really bad stuff there for the Seattle Kraken to blow a lead and lose to the Edmonton Oilers for the second time in the last number of days. So not great news there for the Seattle Kraken, who dropped to 5-8-4 in the season. For the Oilers, they're now back up to 5-9-1. They're looking a lot better. This is a resilient bunch that was able to beat the Seattle Kraken. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep the 3-game winning streak going. They've beaten the Kraken twice, who are not doing overly well right now, and they've also been the Islanders, who are definitely slipping. So they're able to get a couple of wins against some teams who are slipping in the standings right now. It'll be really interesting to see if they're able to beat some of the tougher teams on their schedule in the not-too-distant future. So it'll be interesting to see there. But the Oilers, huge win there to get their 3rd straight win and improve to only 4 games below 500 now. Then we had the Colorado Avalanche absolutely annihilate the Anaheim Ducks 8-2. This was definitely not a game for the Anaheim Ducks. They were down entering the third period, which is something they were definitely being able to come back from in the past. But the Avalanche were able to absolutely destroy them in the third period as well. The Avalanche went 8-2 to improve to 10-5-0, dropping the Anaheim Ducks 9-7-0 in the year. So the Avalanche became the first of those 2 teams to reach the double-digit win mark. Kiviranta had a goal and 2 assists. Makar had 3 assists, both at 3-point nights. Nichushkin scored twice. Taves and Girard both had a goal and an assist. O'Connor, Johnson, and McKinnon all had 2 assists, while Cogliano, Colton, and Olofsson also scored for the Avalanche in the win. Meanwhile, Jones and Carrick were the 2 goal scorers for the Ducks in the loss. So it was definitely not a great game there from the Ducks. Definitely defensively, they were not an overly great team. They got a couple of good goals, so offensively they weren't overly bad, but defensively they were absolutely a mess in yesterday's game. The Avalanche definitely were able to find their goal scoring touch after a few games where it didn't look like they were doing overly well. Last game they were able to beat the Seattle Kraken, and then yesterday they were able to beat the Anaheim Ducks. And in those 2 games they outscored their opponent 13-3. So definitely it looks like they've started to find the goal scoring touch, and once the Avalanche find their goal scoring touch, watch out, because they're a very dangerous team. So Avs get to double-digit wins and beat the Anaheim Ducks. And then the nightcap yesterday was Bo Horvat's return to the Vancouver Canucks as the Canucks hosted the New York Islanders. Islanders, including with a goal from Horvat, were up 3-1 at one point, but the Canucks would get a second period goal from Brock Besser, a third period game time goal from Philip Bronick, and then with the OT winner from Quinn Hughes to beat the New York Islanders in overtime 4-3 to improve to 12-1, while the Islanders continue to fall, now down to 5-6-4. For the Canucks, Besser, Miller, and Hughes all had a goal and 2 assists for 3-point nights, while Ronick, his first as a member of the Vancouver Canucks, also scored for Vancouver in the win. Meanwhile, for the New York Islanders, Barzal had 2 assists, while Nelson, Engvall, and Horvat were the 3 goal scorers for the Islanders in the loss. So, Isles continue to fall. They're not doing overly well right now. They could definitely use some improvements on that team. They don't look overly good right now. They need to try and find something to spark their team because they're giving up a lot of goals, and usually this team is able to keep the puck out of their net. They're having trouble scoring, which you know they always have trouble scoring, but definitely this is just a new problem for them to try and keep the puck out of their net. They're having troubles doing it. Canucks continue to be resilient, score 3 unanswered goals for the win. Huge win for the Canucks to improve their record. So Canucks are now up to 12-3-1, while the Islanders dropped to 5-6-4, and that's a huge win for Canucks to improve their records. So those are all the game reviews. Recaps that I'm going to do here today. Those were all the 13 games from the past couple of days. We do have a couple of game previews to discuss for the next couple of days, both for later today and early tomorrow. So we have 9 games today on Thursday, and we have 3 games tomorrow on Friday. Today at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we have the Detroit Red Wings play Ottawa Senators, the first of the 4 games that are playing over in Sweden, so it's a little bit of an earlier start time. So that's going to be an interesting game to watch out for. Then at 4 o'clock, the Arizona Coyotes look to keep pace with Winnipeg and St. Louis, taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are looking to avoid losing their, I think it's like 11th loss in 12 games, if I'm correct. The Golden Knights are looking to avoid their 4th loss in 5 games, taking on the Montreal Canadiens, who are looking to get back above 500. Those 2 games are both at 4 o'clock, as is the New Jersey Devils taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins looking to extend their winning streak. Devils looking to avoid losing yet again without Hughes and Hischier, so that's going to be an interesting game. At 5 o'clock, you have the Bolts taking on the Blackhawks for the second time in a week. The Bolts lost to the Blackhawks a little while ago thanks to a Connor Bedard fantastic night. He had a 4-point night against the Bolts. Now it'll be interesting to see how those 2 play now in Chicago. So it'll be interesting to see there. Then at 6 o'clock, you have the Flames taking on the Canucks. Flames beat the Canadiens on Tuesday. It was a much-needed win for them there, so they're looking to improve on that, get to within 2 games of 500. Canucks, meanwhile, looking to keep pace with some of the better teams in the league and continue to be one of the better teams in the NHL. Then 2 teams who blew 3-1 leads and lost in overtime 4-3 in the Islanders and the Kraken are both looking for much-needed wins tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific time. And at 7:30 Pacific time, we have 2 games. The Florida Panthers continue their California road trip, taking on the LA Kings, looking for yet another win, while the Kings look to avoid a 3rd straight loss. Meanwhile, the San Jose Sharks look to get back to their winning ways, which has been very, very slim so far this year, as 2-13-1 Sharks take on a really hot 8-5-1 St. Louis Blues team. And then on top of that, we have 3 games tomorrow. The second game of the Sweden series, as the Maple Leafs take on the Red Wings tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. So it'll be interesting to see how that game goes. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we have the Winnipeg Jets looking to keep pace with Arizona and St. Louis, taking on the Buffalo Sabres, who are looking to get back to 500. And then at 7 o'clock tomorrow, we have the Florida Panthers finishing up the California road trip, looking for 3 straight wins in California, taking on the Anaheim Ducks, who are looking to get back to their winning ways and get their first double-digit victory. So it'll be interesting to see how those games go, but those are your sort of game previews for the next 3 days. And then just going into a quick look at the standings. So as of right now, the Boston Bruins lead the Atlantic Division with 26 points, followed by the 21-point Florida Panthers and the 18-point Detroit Red Wings. The 23-point New York Rangers lead the Metro Division, followed by the 18-point Washington Capitals and the 18-point Carolina Hurricanes. Then the 18-point Toronto Maple Leafs and the 17-point Philadelphia Flyers are the 2 teams in a playoff spot, with the 16-point Pittsburgh Penguins, 16-point Tampa Bay Lightning, 16-point Montreal Canadiens, 15-point New Jersey Devils and Buffalo Sabres, 14-point New York Islanders, 12-point Ottawa Senators, and 12-point Columbus Blue Jackets all on the outside looking in. Then on the western side, you have the 23-point Dallas Stars leading the Central Division, followed by the Colorado Avalanche, who have 20 points, and the Winnipeg Jets, who have 18 points. Then the 25-point Vancouver Canucks are tied with the 25-point Vegas Golden Knights, who are the division lead of the Pacific Division, followed by the 19-point LA Kings. Then you have the 18-point Anaheim Ducks and the 17-point St. Louis Blues, both in the playoffs right now. They're followed by the 16-point Arizona Coyotes, the 14-point Seattle Kraken, the 12-point Calgary Flames and Minnesota Wild, the 11-point Edmonton Oilers, the 10-point Chicago Blackhawks, the 10-point Nashville Predators, and the 5-point San Jose Sharks. And those are your standings as of right now. So definitely, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this down in the comments. What do you think with some of the better games over the past 2 days? What games are you most looking forward to over the next 2 days? Is there any surprises of the standings, as you can see? Are you surprised that the Kraken are so low? The Oilers are still so low. The Flames and Wild are still a couple of points out of playoff spot. Are you surprised that the Canucks have gone up to being tied with the Golden Knights for the lead in the Pacific Division? Are you surprised Dallas currently leads the Central? New York Rangers currently lead the Metro? Washington or Philadelphia in the playoffs? Well, definitely. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video, and if you really liked it, remember to subscribe down below. We are so close to 100 subscribers. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this to all of you guys, so don't forget to subscribe. I also do a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that, so definitely check that out. Leave a link in the description below, and can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.